Homilies! Welcome to the Naked Mennonite, a place for the black sheep from any flock. I am your host, Stephen Harder. I don't know if it's because of a social shortcoming on my part, but I have always been very sexually inquisitive. I've never been shy that way. And you can imagine how moving to a small, conservative Mennonite community in my mid-teens would have really encouraged me to repress that part of me for a long time. And if I was more socially attuned, I probably would have worked harder to keep that part of me under wraps. In Bible college, I was the only exhibitionist indoor, man. Whew, was that ever apparent? So I have spent a long time being the only guy comfortable with learning about and talking about and expressing sexuality, especially while I was in the closet, which was very isolating for sure. So imagine my surprise when I discovered an interview with Dr. Joe Court over on the Offbeat YouTube channel, where he talks quite freely about straight guys having sex with other men. It blew my mind. It was such a fascinating conversation to listen to, over an hour long, and I thought it would be great to highlight some of the points here and respond to them as a gay man who's always wanted straight guys to feel more comfortable with expressing their sexuality. So, take it away, Dr. Joe.
Joining me to unpack all the mysteries around straight men having gay sex is a certified relationship therapist and host of the Smart Sex, Smart Love podcast, and writer of 4 books on male sexuality. That's Dr. Joe Court. How's it going, Joe?
It's great. Thanks for having me on. It's such an important topic.
And do you think maybe all men wonder what it's like and it's just a curiosity? Or is it?
No, I don't think all men. I think there are definitely men that never think of it. It repulses them. It's disgusting, or it's just neutral, like nothing, right? But I do think there are many men that have, homoerotic interest, bi curiosity.
Yeah, I've always wondered about things like that because I notice on my podcast, whenever there's something about penises, it's so popular with straight men. And also, there's a lot of male activities where they are homoerotic, and it is men who are worshipping the male form, like bodybuilding is the big one.
Yeah, and I don't know that it is. It might be. I don't even know if it's homoerotic. I mean, there's things men do that it's not necessarily erotic to them, but there are men that cross the line for all kinds of legitimate reasons that people just don't understand.
That is something that I've noticed myself. It has always perplexed me, whether it's my friends who grew up really interested in Schwarzenegger and are wanting to have those big muscular bodies. Like, I'm interested in men's bodies too, just like you, and yet I feel like we're taking different things away from this. Or are we? How do straight guys balance that attraction to a strong male physique and wishing that they had that strong male physique and being sexually attracted to a strong male physique? Or down a different path, I once watched some UFC with a bunch of guys, and those were some scantily clad, strong, masculine men getting very, very physical with each other. They are not wearing much, and they are pinning each other down and grinding against each other. And there was an element that was definitely a turn on for me, right? Until they started getting all bloody and bruised, and that's when that stopped. But still, there's a lot of straight men who enjoy this sport that has some very homoerotic ingredients tossed into it. And I'm just curious about how do those straight guys balance that out? I'm so curious.
Another main reason is a lot of straight men enjoy prostate play, and you can't get to your prostate without going through your anus. You can do it outside of it, between your testicles and, your scrotum and your butt. So then, but they tell their wives or girlfriends, and the girlfriend thinks, no, you're gay. I don't trust you anymore. I don't see you as a man anymore. Or he's too ashamed to tell her, even if she's going to be okay with it. So he goes and finds men to penetrate him and give him that prostate pleasure, but he's not into the guy. Most gay guys that are bottoms and like getting fucked are thinking, God, this guy behind me is so hot. The straight guy's like, I'm not into the guy. I'm into getting fucked. I'm liking the pleasure of what's happening here.
That is equal parts mind-blowing and just really obvious. Just the idea that anal can be pleasurable for any man, regardless of if they're attracted to men or women. It's just a part of their body that is pleasurable to stimulate, right? And how difficult it must be for straight men to say that out loud because of the stigma attached to it. When I've seen guys on gay hookup sites that identify as straight, I just assume that they are looking for someone to dominate and penetrate, and this is just the best way that they can get that. And it never once occurred to me that they want something that they can't easily obtain from an encounter with a woman. It should have been so much more obvious to me, and yet it wasn't.
What percentage of straight men would you say are having gay sex? I've read a few studies, and it seems that it's quite a big range in the studies I saw.
I don't know, to be honest with you, because straight men don't admit it. And they don't admit it because here's the line I always say. When a straight man has one non-heterosexual thought, he's stigmatized. When a straight woman has one non-heterosexual thought, she's fetishized. Both are problematic, but women are much more likely to report same-sex behavior than men because of that.
Clearly, here is another place where the patriarchy rears its head. If a woman does something that's viewed as masculine, then that's empowering for her. And if a man does something that a woman would usually do, then that's viewed as demeaning. So, no way a man would easily admit to having those encounters because there is so much at stake for him. The straight man has so much to lose by admitting that he's chosen something not masculine. And it's sad. It's easy to think of that the patriarchy is good for men, bad for women, but that's not the case. The patriarchy is good for the empowered men, but it's not good for the men who aren't at the very apex.
And a lot of people argue with me online because they don't know. A bisexual guy is going to be attracted to men in general in different ways. He's going to be walking around and have an attraction to men. The straight man isn't walking around, and it's not men in general. It's this man in this time, in this space. I'm having this kind of headspace going on, and I want to have an interaction with a male. They're not into the guy, they're into the act.
And piggybacking off of this, there's that idea of situational homosexuality, right? That in their regular day-to-day life, they would be straight, but you put them in a situation where they can't have that access to members of the opposite sex, right? You put a man in prison with only men for a few years, you put him in a war zone with mainly men around him, his circumstances are different, and he will behave differently sexually. But when that situation ends, they can go back to being their usual sexual self. It's not just this simple binary that people want it to be to make it easier to control. That just isn't reality.
And is there a religious element? Because I know a lot of my listeners are religious, and they seem to be the people that struggle the most with sexual problems.
And the reason is, and I'm going to say this, maybe people won't like it, maybe you'll cut me off, I don't know, but religion has no business talking about sex because it knows nothing about sexual health. It knows nothing about sex. And all it does is harm and abuse people by trying to teach something it knows nothing about.
Now, isn't that just a wild idea that this ancient book might not have the best understanding of something as important as sexuality for the 21st century? Wild. What a radical idea. That we can do better than this. That we can stop hurting people over this already. But who has the most to lose by giving up these antiquated notions? It's the people who are the most empowered by them. They are the ones who want these structures to remain. Certainly not the victimized, certainly not the marginalized. They're supported by the people who have the most to lose.
So the harm is this purity culture who believes that you lose your virginity and that's, your sexual beginning. But as sex therapists, we don't talk about losing your virginity. We talk about having your sexual debut. What do you think was what your first pleasurable experience? And it may not have anything to do with intercourse, kind of thing.
And it's 100% that psychological thing where the forbidden thing is the thing that you must have. If only we could loosen up on these reins, maybe sexuality wouldn't have such the emphasis in our world that it does. Maybe then we could get down to deeper, more important things. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess I have mixed feelings on religion. I'm not religious myself, but I do have family values and things like that. But I try to be open-minded, and I guess I'm trying to straddle a divide, and often I'm inconsistent. I guess I'm not 100% clear on my thoughts yet, but I do see a lot of people that listen to the show have, they watch porn, but they feel guilty about it. They masturbate, but they feel guilty about it. And I'm not sure what the answer is for those people, because their religion does bring them a lot of benefits in their life.
I know.
But at the same time, it's causing this sexual tension and trauma, maybe.
Yeah. I can't be like this guy here. I can't compartmentalize that way. If you adhere to magical thinking in one part of your life, then you have to wonder what other parts of your beliefs are also not grounded in reality. If you can make room for poor reasoning here because it has a benefit, then where else will you lie to yourself for a benefit? And equally important, what harm are you doing to others just for your own personal benefit? Where one person thinks that being Catholic is just a harmless identity marker, I see support, identification, allegiance with a powerful institution with a unrepentant, bloody past that is actively harming people on a global scale. I can't just passively make space for that in my life. I couldn't do that. Just because it makes me feel good to identify with a group. And add to it the idea of doing harm to yourself because of this sexual tension, because of this trauma. There's no benefit strong enough to make me want to actively lie to myself for the sake of a belief system. And any benefits that can be found within that religious system can be found outside of it, but without the drawbacks.
But I realized recently that actually LGBT stuff is relevant for straight men too, which my mind's a bit blown, but I'm enjoying covering it, and I'm learning so much, and it's kind of making me more open-minded as well. I thought I was super open-minded, but it does reveal a lot of hidden prejudices and stereotypes that I have.
Yeah, and it touches online, at least what I notice when I get these nasty comments, it touches patriarchy, it touches misogyny, it touches misandry, it touches sexism, it touches homophobia. I couldn't have picked a better topic that harassed more people. And I didn't even know I was going to harass people. I knew people would be like, wait, what? And we would have discussion, but you can't believe the kind of reactions I get from people. It's crazy.
Well, that was an illuminating conversation about male sexuality. It is so good to see these stigmas for what they are and take some steps to shake free of them. And hopefully it's been eye-opening for you too. It has been very encouraging to see people responding to my content here this year. Views, likes, comments, subs, they have all been steadily increasing, which helps me see the value in the work I'm investing here. So if you'd like to contribute to the space I'm making here, please give a like, a comment, hit that subscribe button. It has a very real impact on what I'm doing here. You are making a difference, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you teaming up with me in that way. But until next time, this is Stephen Harder reminding you that underneath our clothes, we are all naked. I'll see you next time.